Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to the Intuition Activation Podcast. I'm your host, Jessica, a spiritual medium and intuitive coach, and I'm so excited that you're here to join me for this intuitive development journey. Hello, guys. I am so excited to come to you this week with another incredible guest. I feel like we're up leveling this podcast a little bit because I have so many of these brilliant, amazing guests who are here to just enlighten us and help you along your intuitive development journey, sorry. And if you didn't listen to episode 87 last week with Jenny Rebecca, definitely make sure to go and listen to that. My mind is still blown from that conversation, and I think you're going to feel equally as awed as I was by the next guest that I have today. And today I have the beautiful Edit B. Kiss. Now, Edit is a karma healing facilitator and an elemental light healer. And her method is all about helping you release and heal your traumas. Now, this may be a little bit of I don't want to say it's a heavier episode because we don't talk necessarily about darker or heavier things, but I think maybe the better word is that it's a really important episode. And I think that there's nothing that is more important when you're going through your spiritual awakening, when you're developing your intuition, when you're trying to call in the highest, most divine, most aligned version of yourself. One of the most important steps is healing your trauma, sort of the subconscious programming that's lying in the background that's running the whole show. And if you're not aware of what's going on in the background, the stories that you're telling yourself, the phrases that are kind of running in the background that are running the show essentially, and you're not aware of them because you're in your subconscious, then any effort that you make towards becoming a better version of the self, a more aligned version of the self, is going to potentially be sabotaged because your actions are going to show up differently because your beliefs aren't aligned with where you're headed. And so this is where Edit comes in, and she really helps you release those traumas, those childhood traumas, those past life karma traumas, all of the things. And she does it through a really beautiful and unique method of meditation. So she's really incredible at helping somebody heal. And she takes it to the next level. If somebody is having panic attacks, severe anxiety, severe depression, anything like that, where they're just really stuck in a rut and they're really a slave to their subconscious beliefs and their subconscious emotions, right? That are just running the show. She is the absolute proof that this is something that you can move away from, and it doesn't have to take a lifetime to heal from. Just because you have a lifetime of traumas doesn't mean it takes a lifetime to heal. And she is going to explain how that works and the proof of that. So I'm so excited for you to get to meet Edit and learn all the incredible things she has to share with us. And she's been so generous. After you listen to this episode, you're definitely going to want to go and work with her. Release all of your traumas, step into your highest self, feel like the happier, most aligned version of yourself. And she's offering our listeners a 50% off coupon. Using the code IA50. So IA as an intuition activation 50. And all of the links will be in the show notes. She offers a 30-day incubator to work with her, but then she also does one-off sessions for her karma healing and for her elemental light healing. And then she also has an incredible community. So definitely check out all of the links in the show notes to learn how you can work with Edit more. I know that I'm about to sign up to work with her myself and for my husband to work with her too. I was just so inspired by everything she had to say. So I'm so excited to introduce her to you. But before we dive into that, I do want to remind you guys that I have done something really radical. And if you are wanting to work with me and get a spiritual guidance session, but the price was a little out of your range, now is your chance to jump on it. I have reduced my prices back to what they were in 2024. So that's close to $250, if not $300 off the price session that it was before. Way more affordable because I want to be able to access you guys more. I think the time is here that more people need to be stepping into their beautiful, most authentic selves. If you're ready to figure out what your path and your purpose is, then come and head over to my website, jessicarachel.co, and grab your session, either a 90-minute or 45-minute at a way more affordable price. And I can't wait to connect with you more. I also am having a really incredible sale, whereas buy two and get the third one free. I don't care if you use it for yourself or for someone else. So grab a friend, buy a package of three, and split it between you. And so you can come and see me there. That one is only for a limited time. So again, head to jessicarachel.co/sessions to grab all of your packages and your sessions with me. And I can't wait to connect with you more. And that being said, without further ado, I'm so excited to introduce to you the beautiful, the amazing, the incredibly talented Edit. Well, welcome, Edit, to the Intuition Activation Podcast. I am so excited to have you here. Thanks so much for joining me.
Hi, Jessica. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And I was so excited when you reached out to me to come and be on this show because I think that this is a topic that I haven't had a chance to dive deep enough into, which, we talk a lot about on the show about connecting to your intuition and connecting to your spirit guides. And a lot of the times it's really about doing it from a place of path and purpose. But there's something to be said about going underneath that, right? That one of the things we can do when we connect it to our intuition is we can connect to our childhood. We can connect to our inner child. We can connect to our past lives. We can look at some of the things that are stopping us from actually achieving the things our spirit guides are telling us to do, right? Our spirit guides are telling us to go forth and be your highest, most amazing human self. And we get in our own way. And so I'm so excited to have you here to help us dive into all of the ways that we can help clear all of that. So thank you so much for being here. The very first question I love to always ask my guests, though, before we dive into all of the beautiful things that you have to share, is what does intuition mean for you?
Intuition is connecting to my higher self and connecting to source and downloading information, basically. So when I am intuitively guided, it means like I'm listening to my higher self, basically, or it's also, I could say, listening to my heart. So intuition can come from those sources, basically. And so yeah, so intuition is something higher than you. So it's not your brain, it's not your brain cells, not your reality, but not the knowing, not the knowledge you gathered or the skill sets you gathered in this lifetime, but it's much higher. Like it's coming from a higher dimension, basically.
Yeah, I love it. So beautiful. And I love that you say it's also from your heart, which I think is very true. It definitely is a heart-centered place or coming from a heart-centered place for sure. And so before we kind of dive into all of the beautiful work that you do, I would love for you to share with our listeners what is it exactly that you do now and how is it that you work with clients? And yeah, what is the work that you kind of put out into the world?
Yeah, so currently I'm very passionate about helping people with PTSD, panic attacks, depression, feeling lost, or having even like relationship issues or like family issues, like with children, parents. So that's what I'm working on with my clients. That's how they come to me. Usually they say, "Oh, I have childhood trauma to heal," or "I just feel lost. I don't know where to go. But I'm not happy where I am." Or just feeling depressed, and yeah, so stuck in life, that kind of situations I have with, or even panic attacks. So when people comes to me and then crying and saying like I can't even go outside because I'm so desperate and feeling, I don't know, panicky. So those kind of things when I help. And yeah, so I use techniques from, most of the time what technique I use with these occasions is the karma yoga healing, which I learned from an Indian Kashmirian karma guru back in 2018. And I just encountered this event through invitations, through people. I wasn't planning to learn anything. I wasn't planning to experience anything. It was just like really coincidence. There is no coincidence in life, but so I was just kind of guided there. And then it just completely transformed my life. So it was so powerful, so profound what I experienced during that event that I decided to learn it. I decided to become a practitioner, and then later going on retreats and basically gain more and more of this knowledge and then experience, and then using on myself first, obviously, and then I had also the calling to do it with clients because of the power of this technique. And yeah, it's a 60,000 years old Adi Yogi Shiva technique. It's also called Kashmiri Shivaism. So it includes meditations, it includes connecting with the unconscious mind and healing from the unconscious mind, like healing the buried traumas, past life traumas, this lifetime traumas, and also connected with ancestors, connecting with spirit guides or ascended masters. So really stepping out into your multidimensional existence, because we are in this small reality, but we can't fix our small reality just being in the small reality. We need to step outside into our multidimensional existence to actually to heal those segments, and that gonna fix your reality.
That's so crazy and so beautiful. Can you repeat the name of this modality one more time? It's a really long word.
It's Kashmiri Shaivism, because
Okay,
it's from
Kashmiri.
Shiva. So it's Aditya Shiva techniques, Kashmiri Shaivism. Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. And I want to dive into a little bit deeper about what that looks like. But before we do, you were not doing this from the beginning. You didn't come screaming out of the womb doing this. And if I remember correctly, you were a petroleum engineer before. So, how does one go from being an engineer to doing something that's so beautiful and spiritual? What was your story? And if I can even ask you to go a little further back, were you raised with any type of spirituality? Was that sort of a type of conversation that was had in your home, or was this totally something outside of yourself that you sort of stumbled upon?
Yeah, so I'm originated from Hungary, so it's a it used to be a social country, back in the days when I was a child. So even being religious or going to church, it wasn't a thing, because in that time it was just like communism and socialism, and then if you were part of the parties, then you were not allowed to go to church even. So my parents, they didn't go to church, they didn't tell me anything about God, so I had zero connection with other dimensions. I was just living my life and setting goals, and then, doing stuff in school or whatever I had to do. My mom was a teacher, so I was under pressure to to produce, in school. So basically, that's how I grew up. And then when I became like a teenager, that's when I started to read more about religions. I started to read books about Taoism, Buddhism, Christianism, other Islamic, other religions, and then I really liked Taoism, because it was saying like there is a source energy you can connect and you can get knowledge from through meditation. And then Buddhism I also liked. So those, I was just like learning about them in my teenage years. And what happened is I started to travel intensively abroad, because as a child we traveled a lot in the summer time because my father loved traveling. So I really enjoyed looking into new cultures, experiencing other cultures. So when I grew up, I also seeked these possibilities or opportunities. So that's why I also wanted to become an engineer, because a petroleum engineer needs to travel a lot into all kinds of oil fields and stuff like that. So that's why I became passionate about that industry, because, and then I also grew up with two brothers. So I was kind of like a tomboy. I like to get dirty. I like to get outside and those tomboy stuff. So petroleum engineering also gave me that feeling, being with men and being outside. So I really enjoy that. And yeah. So what happened to me, meanwhile, I was preparing to become a petroleum engineer. I experienced panic attacks on one of my trip when I went to Mexico. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what it is. I had a friend there, so he just took me to a doctor, So the doctor gave me a tranquilizer, which freaked me out even more because it was like I'm losing control, So basically, that's what was calling me to find something natural, some natural remedies. And when I came back home from Mexico, then my mom just said that, oh, actually, her best friend, she's doing Reiki, and then you can get to her Reiki master, and then she can heal you or help you to heal. I was like, okay, cool. So I started to have some Reiki sessions. I started to feel better. And then I was thinking, oh, I should learn this. So I went through the process, labor 1, labor 2, and then I also used it on myself. And then later I got children. So I was doing my engineering career for 15 years by side, like as a hobby or as a sanctuary. I used this Reiki for, to help myself and my family. And I also did a lot of family constellation therapies and extrasense retreats beside Reiki. So it's even helped me more heal, our reality. So with the relationship with my husband, or, any health issues or any stress or whatever came up. And then there was a time when I really lost, like, I really felt like something is wrong because I'm unhealthy, I'm unhappy, I'm overloaded, I'm overwhelmed. I want to spend more time with my kids. So that's when I actually left 9 to 5. job in a corporate world, and then I became a contractor after that. So I was still doing the engineering as a contractor, and it was really good because I had more time for my kids and myself. So that was a good transformation, and that's how I ended up with the karma yoga healing. So I had time to go to that course as well, and that was which was really eye-opening, and that was like it was so deep that it came breadcrumbs immediately, and the calling to actually show this to people and help others. And because I was actually already a couple of months earlier, I was already doing some meditation with other masters, but and then I already had the feeling that I want to help others with meditations, so I already had that. And then this just, build it up more. So it amplified it.
Yeah, amazing. And so, can I ask you, when you started kind of learning and diving deeper into this work and into the meditations and into even Reiki, would you say that you experienced different layers or levels of your intuition coming through and maybe being able to experience potentially beings from the other side or spirit guides or just receiving intuitive downloads about the people you were working on?
Yes, absolutely. So when I was doing the extra set. So first, the first time, it was, of course, it wasn't easy. It wasn't even easy for me to connect to the other side, to source, to bring in the energy as a Reiki, healer or a student. So what I did actually, I learned some Christian prayers earlier, a couple of years earlier, because I was thinking to get baptized, but I missed the occasion because I got hired to a company, so I had to go abroad to work. So I didn't get baptized, but I still learned the prayers, right? So when I went to Reiki and then they told me to connect to source, bring into energy, start doing the healing, I was like, how to connect? And I was like, okay, I know this prayer. So actually I started to say Christian prayers to connect to God, to source. So that's what I use. And it stick with me so much that even until today, whenever I start the Reiki healing, I start with a prayer.
That's
And
so
and then later, obviously, I learned other ways how to connect and then in the extra sense retreats, we learned to, like, for example, write a name on a piece of paper. Someone wrote a name on a piece of paper, give it to me, and then I was just holding in my hand, and I had to start speaking about that person who's on the paper without me knowing the name, right? So that's kind of intuitive things. And then we learned other techniques like just holding each other hands and saying certain phrases. I can feel what they feel with their other hands. So they touching an object and I hold their hands. I can say the color or the texture or whatever they touching without me knowing what they touch because I'm connected to them. So these kind of trainings I went through. And with the family constellation therapy was even deeper. That was like really powerful because what's happening in family constellation therapy, we invite a whole family into our physical body because we represent. So there's a person who has issue, right, in current life, and then they want us to help. So we are in a circle of people and we invoke the family. And then I get one spirit in me, right? Someone who I never met, I never knew, or maybe uncle or grandpa or whatever it is. So he comes into me and then I can feel all their emotions, everything. So we are standing in front of each other and the other person represents grandma and I represent grandpa. And we are having all kinds of emotions towards each other and all kinds of willing to connect and having conversations and having all kinds of connections is really powerful. And the one of the I never can forget. I had one occasion when there was an uncle or someone came into me, and I experienced their energy the way that I had to sit down and just be in peace. And what appeared in my mind was a background of a sky which was like orange sky, which when the sun goes down, kind of orange, and the trees were like in the savannah, those cutted trees, and then it was so peaceful that there was zero wind, like nothing moved. And as I was sitting there, I really had the feeling that I am in nirvana or somewhere, somewhere very special. And the other thing I felt that I know the answer for everything. Literally, I felt like I am in a space or in a state. And then I even said out loud to the other people in the family constellation therapy that you can ask me anything. I know everything. I had that something in me in that moment. So anyway, so that was a very profound. And then I felt like I was sitting there and I said, I never want to come back from here. This is so cool. I was, can I stay forever? So this kind of experiences, of course, happens. Yeah. So
Yeah. Wow, it's so cool. And I do want to kind of zoom in on a couple of those things because it sounds like some of the trainings you have were really kind of zooming in on even training the different types of clairs. So we talk like specifically when you're holding the hand and then feeling they're holding or what they're feeling, like that's clair tangents, right? Which is like if or if holding onto an object that belongs to somebody even, and then receiving information about them, like that's a really powerful exercise. So I'm so glad that you brought that forward. And then I definitely can relate a little bit, maybe not as intensely, but to the experience of getting into a place where it feels like you're just in another world almost. And definitely through a healing modality, you can, especially, I know when I am trained in Reiki, but the energy healing I like to practice is kind of like whatever my guides have told me to do. And sometimes we get to this place where I'm just like, I don't ever want to leave wherever this place is that I'm sitting in right now because it's just so blissful. So I can absolutely relate to that. It's so beautiful. And so I want to ask you now, let's say somebody comes to you and they're experiencing panic attacks or they're just feeling stuck. Like maybe it's just like I just want to go forth and do the thing I meant to do here in this lifetime, but I'm feeling really stuck or I'm feeling paralyzed. What would it look like for you to work with them over the course of time? Like where do you start and how do you use all of these different modalities that you have with them to put the puzzle pieces together to help them actually take action and, feel like their most authentic selves again?
yeah, so let's if you started with the panic attack, so that's like one of the most severe
Okay.
situations.
Okay.
So let's start with that. If someone is coming with panic attacks and they are very scared and then they are don't even know how they're gonna do their life in tomorrow or even in a couple of weeks, right? So then first, of course, I ask what they eat. So diet is really important. What they consume, what they eat. So do they have enough supplements in them? Iron, magnesium, vitamin B. Some of the times people comes to me with anxiety and stress and depression, vegans or vegetarians whose lack of information what they supposed to consume, and they lacking in iron and vitamin B. So that's the most important them to understand that okay, you can stay vegan or vegetarian, but take supplements for sure because that's already gonna mitigate these reactions, what you are syndromes, what you're having. And then the second thing is caffeine. Stop drinking caffeine, right? Or alcohol if you are in an anxiety or panic attack mode, and then shift it into mint tea or herbal teas, or rooibos tea, because rooibos tea is very good for mitigating also the caffeine withdrawal symptoms. So that's my first suggestions, obviously, to see like what lifestyle they live, right? Are they having a stressful career or are they not sleeping enough? They have insomnia. So first, I'm trying with habits, changing their habits, changing their lifestyle, seeing that way. But then, of course, we go deeper. Like when is it started? How is it started? How long you having it? And then basically also. I invite them to practice the samadhi meditation. Samadhi meditation is the first step to open up your multidimensional existence. And in samadhi meditation, you activate not just your seventh chakra, but the eighth as well, which is the soul star chakra. That's your chakra which opens your karma vortex and the access to your past lives as well. So after activating eighth chakra, we activate the pineal gland through cerebellum. So when you activate the pineal gland, you get into a delta brainwaves when you start to produce the necessary hormones like serotonin, melatonin, oxytocin, growth hormone, and already just practicing this meditation on a daily basis gonna bring them from the rabbit hole into a bit higher where they can already feel better, right? So they can already start practicing affirmations, for example, because many times when you are stuck is because of your beliefs, right? What do you believe about yourself or about your circumstances? So doing a subconscious reprogramming is really important through affirmations, positive affirmations like I feel safe, I feel loved, I feel powerful, or I feel capable. Just saying those words after this meditation is really powerful. And then we move into the deeper healing. So the deeper healing part is I have a 30 days incubator. So I put it in a 30 days. I used to have 8 weeks, But then I realized that my clients already smiling and getting better after 4 weeks. So I was like, okay, let's do a 30 days incubator then. So in this 30 days incubator, they have a list of meditation they need to practice from my meditation library, which includes also karma healing meditations, ancestral healing, ancestral defect healing, ancestral karma, ancestral trauma healing meditations, which are really deep, and also meeting with spirit guides or grounding meditation. So there is a list what they need to go through in that 30 days. And why we meet 4 times for private sessions. So the private session is the 2-hour session when we go deep into the unconscious mind to release the traumatic experiences from this lifetime or past lives. And we never know when is it coming. We're just gonna ask the unconscious that, okay, this is my current situation. This is how I feel right now. This is what's frustrating me or triggering me. Okay, where is the root? And then the unconscious mind just bring you the memories. I have clients who in this 30 days incubator always went to past life, never this lifetime. I have clients who only went to this lifetime and never to past lives. So it's so unique who experience what, basically. I even had clients who went between lives, like in the situation when they're supposed to come to Earth to this life, and then they were like, I'm not coming, I'm not coming. And then the universe was like, yep, you go. So, and then we had to actually forgive the universe to do that. So, and
Wow.
there's so many ways you can go into, and so basically to find those roots, that they could be anywhere. And that's what we do in these source memory healings. And it's basically 4 sessions for 4 different things in your life. So if you have most of the time, every people have 4 different things to heal. So yeah, to pick those 4 more important situations in life to heal, that's what we do in that 30 days. So what happens is most of the time with my clients after 30 days, if they do this program, well, I forgot to mention, I also have a life transformation system course which they need to watch through the course and do some homeworks about it, because it explains them about positive thinking, about ancestors, about raising vibration, about setting goals, about all of these things which might they don't know, and that it's outside of their their knowledge, but it's basically part of you, how you are forming your life and how you create your reality. So that's like a more like an informative video material for them while we're doing the healing. So basically, after 30 days, what's happening, they come to me depressed, they come to me, feeling down, feeling lost. And then at the end of the 4 weeks, they smiling, they are empowered, they already having new ideas, they already ready to move. And that's the energy, what they experience after the 4 weeks.
Wow, that's really, really powerful. And I love that it doesn't actually take that long. I think, right? Like, I think some people think that, if it's taken me my whole life to get to this place where I'm having panic attacks, or I've been taking my whole life to program this into me, it's going to take just as long to program it out. And it's so nice and, reassuring to heal that within 30 days, you're going to be a transformed individual. That's just so empowering. I'm curious because everything that you're sharing about, it sounds a lot like, have you ever heard of that book? And I forget the author's name, that is called Many Lives, Many Masters. Have you heard of this one? Where
Mm.
okay. So this was, I can't remember if he was a psychologist, but, or I think he might have also just been a hypnotherapist, but he's hypnotizing his patients for similar reasons and discovering that they were, going into past lives in order to heal their traumas. And would you say, I guess I have two questions from here. Would you say that how are you exactly taking them into a place where they're able to access those memories? Would you say it's a level of hypnosis, or is it just a really deep meditation? What does that kind of meditation actually look
It's
like?
just a really deep meditation. So it's not hypnosis. They are aware of everything. It's a very deep meditation. They are still communicating with me. They're telling me what they see in that memory. They still doing the forgiveness part and the release part, with me. So I'm just guiding them through the release and the healing process in every memory. But basically they see the memory. They tell me what they see, you know. Then the other thing is with this healing, that even if they don't want to tell me what they say, because what they see, because sometimes they have childhood trauma abuse, you know, or sexual abuse in their teenagehood. So they don't want to tell me what happened to them. So that's completely fine. I don't need to know. So they just go into that memory, they see what's happening. They just need to tell me their emotions. Like, I feel betrayed, I feel hurt, I feel blah, blah, blah. And then I release those emotions. I don't need to know what happened. So that's why it's a very safe place also for people. It's not a speaking therapy. It's not like they need to open up and trust me to tell me everything. No, I don't need to know anything. You don't
Oh,
need to.
yeah. And are you, because you sound like a very intuitive person as well, on some level, are you experiencing what they're experiencing at the moment? Are you able to kind of have any visions of what's going on? Are you feeling any of the energy? Is there anything that's happening on your end, or are you just really focused on being that container in that moment?
So basically, because it's their memory, I don't really get into that. So I don't really enter their memory, especially if sometimes they don't even want to share it. So I don't enter that. At the end, at the very end, we have a download. So when we forgive and we leave that memory, we release that memory, we heal it. At the end, there is a sentence when we ask for a download as like a solution or a reflection about this memory, what can help them in this lifetime. So when we're asking for the download, then it comes to me as well as a download, not just to them. So it's like more like I receive also a download and they also receive a download, and then we check like, is it the same? Sometimes it's the same, sometimes it's not. But it's that's the point when I feel more connected. But the rest is in with them, like they doing it basically.
Yeah, yeah. And what does it mean exactly to when they do kind of re-experience or witnessing that memory again, and you say that you help them release it? Are you walking them through or talking, asking them to forgive themselves or forgive? Like, what does that look like in terms of actually releasing?
So when they enter the memory, if it's a memory they already remember because it's this lifetime, like, oh, I know this. Sometimes they are like, oh, I know this one, and then they're just like, I was 6 and this happened. So there are some memories like that. But sometimes it's past life, and we need to be very patient to let it unfold, because they are like, I'm riding a horse. I have a I don't know, I gone or whatever, it's like, okay, let's move forward. What's happening, because the emotions, maybe, you feel just angry or maybe scared, but what's happening more? So when it's a past life story, we need to move a bit deeper and longer to understand the whole situation before we can collect the memories. But with current lifetimes memories, it's easier because they already remember. So it's like I let them dive in, I let them feel it through. It's more like watching a movie, It's like, not that I know that there are certain modalities out there when they go and live through those memories, they are shaking and they are, feeling all kinds of weird ways and crying and hysterically. In this way, no, this is really gentle. It's just like you're watching a movie kind of way. So when you see that memory, it's kind of you watching a movie, and sometimes you cry on a movie, right? So it happens when it's a really like painful situation or really heartbreaking situation. Of course, clients cry sometimes, but it's a deeper, better release, if they cry actually. And yeah, and then what I guide them through is basically to release it from every layer of their existence, from ancestors, from this lifetime, from past lives, of future, from Akashic records. So it's basically, I say it outwardly, that because their unconscious mind needs to connect to the supreme pure consciousness at the same time. And so I basically release it through sentences, and then I replace it with positive energies, and then I wait until they release it, and then I again fill them up with positive things, energies, and then they move into the forgiveness part, and then the conclusion. So
Okay.
that's one memory. And then sometimes they have 6, in one session.
Which is why it takes sometimes 2 hours.
Yeah, 2 hours.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Well, no, and the reason that I'm asking is because, I've definitely read a lot of books from many mediums and practitioners who dive into past lives, and some will say that it can sometimes be enough to just re-witness the past life experience to heal it. But what you're saying is that not only are they rewatching it or seeing it like a movie, but then you're also replacing it with positive affirmations and sort of
Yeah,
inserting
we
some other
we
things.
yeah, we need to have named the emotions, what they feel. Like I feel betrayed, I feel scared, I feel traumatized, I feel, whatever it is. And we need to release those into supreme pure consciousness and replace it also with good energies. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's really beautiful. And so let's say somebody is just wanting to dive into their healing journey and maybe they haven't had the chance or the opportunity to work with you yet. And they're definitely going to, everyone who listens to this, I think you should absolutely go and seek out edit and give it a try. It sounds amazing. But let's say somebody's trying to sort of do this on their own, right? They're trying to kind of either dive into their own past lives or just figure out where am I blocked. What do you recommend they do to even just scratch the surface and get started?
So samadhi meditation, because otherwise they don't really can access to their unconscious mind, So it's so interesting. I was speaking many years ago when I learned about this technique. I was speaking with hypnotherapists, and then they were saying to me like, yeah, they can't hypnotize themselves. Some of them was telling me that they actually needs to go to another hypnotherapist to hypnotize them if they want to get the same healing what they do, right?
Mhm.
So with this technique, why is it so amazing? Because you can do the meditation yourself. You can enter your unconscious mind, you can do the healing. But obviously, first you don't know what step to take when you are there, or you don't know how to communicate with your unconscious mind because there's a certain way you need to talk to it, right? So just to do the samadhi and access that space is good for affirmations. It's good for you to reprogram your subconscious mind, which is really amazing because that's many times the issue, why you can't move forward. So just and then the other thing is when you are in rabbit hole, and you want to get out, just do the samadhi and you're gonna already feel better. So I had people who was reporting me back that only doing the meditation, it's really changed their life already.
Mhm.
But if you have PTSD, if you have severe, anxiety or panic attacks or depression, obviously you need the deeper healing and someone who can guide you through at least once on the process. And then if you are smart, you remember the steps and then you can do it yourself. So I'm also teaching this. So I have facilitators who I train. So there is a facilitator training I actually have online, and I also have energy healing training online, the elemental light healer, which I created, which because some of my facilitator students came to me and said, oh, can you teach me for energy healing as well? And I was like, well, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't want to teach you Reiki, even though I'm a Reiki master, but and check him. But you know what? I will teach you something which I do because I don't always do Reiki or Shekhem. I sometimes just call upon the energies, the elements, and then I just do the healing. So basically, that's what I did. I created a program, the Elemental Light Healer, where I also told them how I actually use my dragon for healing. So it's like a more like an energy healing course. I also have that for facilitators. And then other thing is that I have a school community. So in the school community, my people heard about this is SKOOL. That's how you spell it. So in school community, we have a meditation library. We have every 2 weeks a live event where I do certain healing practices, group healing. And you can ask questions from me. You can connect with me. You can spend time with me there. And in the community, you can always ask questions and have fun with others, or just see the steps there as well, like how to heal. And I also had a 17 episode produced in release with this show, which is also reachable from the school.com as well. So basically there is lots of healing techniques there, healing programs, many hours of programs there and healings. So for free, because you can join my school community for free right now. It's going to be paid later, but currently it's free. So thank
Amazing. And we're going to link all of that in the show notes so that you can find everything. Well, Edit, this has really been such a fascinating conversation. And I really think that there's so much here, and we're definitely going to have to dive into a part two at some point. But I know we're pressed for time. Is there anything that I didn't get a chance to ask you that you would love to share with the listeners?
I always talk about mindfulness. So when I went the first time to this Kashmiri Shaivism event, besides the meditation, besides the powerful meditation, which brought me all kinds of breadcrumbs from the universe, the other was the topic of mindfulness. Because mindfulness is so much connected to karma, because karma is action. And mindfulness is knowing the consequences of your actions, which is also karma. Like, it's like karma and mindfulness is really close to each other. Some people think that mindfulness is only sitting still, being in the present moment, observing your environment or your breathing, and that's it. But for me, mindfulness is moving into the space where you are able to control your thoughts, you are able to control your emotions, and you are able to control your actions because they are all connected. So everything starts with your thoughts, and then your thoughts create your emotions, and your emotions creating your actions. And if you are mindful about it, because this is the only three things you can control actually, but most of the people they can't even control these three things. So when you learn to control these three things, then you are actually taking better actions, better decisions, and your life, you create a better life for yourself and for others because you are more considerate, right? So just practicing samadhi meditation again is going to help you also become more mindful.
It's so beautiful and it's so true. It's one thing to just be in the present moment. It's another thing to actually be the observer of your present moment and the observer of the person who's in that moment. And then to have sort of say and that, there's that being able to almost take a step back and have a pause in between those actions. Which I agree, it's so, so beautiful, and it's a practice for sure. It's something that we maybe aren't necessarily taught right from the beginning, and when we become aware of that, it can really shift everything, can't it? Yeah. Well, this is so beautiful, and I would really love for you to share with our listeners where they can find you. I know that you've been so generous, and you're gonna offer our listeners a discount code if they do wanna work with you, so can you please share with us all of the things? Where can we find you? How can we work with you?
Yes, so I have my website, editbkiss.com, so people can also connect with me there, like book a synergy session, which is free, the first session with me. And they can also reach all my social media from there, my YouTube channel with some of the meditations I talked about and some of the shows I talked about, the episodes, and the school.com. In school.com, my group called Release with Ease. So they just go to school.com and they search in the Discovery Release with Ease. So basically, I'm going to give 50% off for the listeners in I would say in my Karma Yogi facilitator training, in my elemental training, and in my 30 days incubator. So these three links, I'm gonna give it to you, the basically the funnel links, and then if they use the code IA50 because it's intuition activation or what,
Yeah. Yep,
right?
that's right.
Within and 50 because of the 50% off. So IA50 is the code, and it's gonna be three links added, but where they can use this basically.
Thank you. And yes, and we're going to link all of that and the coupon code up in the show notes. So guys, this is such a generous offer, 50% off. Don't walk, run and go and see all of the things that Edit has to offer. It sounds so amazing and so transformational. Thank you, Edit, so much for being here. It was really such a powerful conversation. And I look forward to learning a little bit more and maybe diving into your courses myself. So thank you.